I love the NFL draft, Rod. For me, it starts at the Senior Bowl, goes through the Combine, and leads right up. Because there's always those players that the casual fan never hears of, and then all of a sudden they burst up. And sometimes that's a good surprise, like a Josh Allen a few years ago, who nobody was talking about that August, and all of a sudden shoots up. Or it can be a negative surprise, like let's say a Zach Wilson going second overall to the Jets. Didn't work out so well. So I'm tracking this draft class. This quarterback group is very interesting to me because, Rod, I think this has maybe the biggest chance in a while to have the biggest clump of success or busts in that first round. We're hearing up to 6 quarterbacks could go in the first round, which would be outrageous.
4 in the top 5 from the last mock draft that I saw, because J.J. McCarthy has weaseled his way in there. As a matter of fact, if you've spent, I mean, you love it, but you're analyzing it too. Let's just say the top 5. Who goes where, do you think?
Caleb Williams is going first overall to the Bears. That's a given. Now, I'll tell you this, Rod. If you can mark this, clip it, stamp it. I think we talk 2 years down the road, the Chicago Bears are looking for another quarterback. I'm not buying Caleb Williams as a true franchise quarterback. The skill set's there, but I think everything from the personality to the arrogance to if something goes wrong in the NFL, and it can go wrong quick, do you have the mental cojones to step up and deal with it? I don't think he does. So that's why, for me, I like Jaden Daniels better. And if it wasn't for the knee injuries, Rod, give me Michael Penix Jr. all day. I think if you could erase those injuries, that guy would be my first overall pick. But you can't. And if somehow he can stay healthy, we might be talking about in a couple years that, wow, that Penix guy, how the heck did he fall to X number in the draft?
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
I could not believe how hard Sidney Crosby was working, because Ovi has taken some nights off.
He's been a beast. I mean, he's taken it to a whole different level, and the team has kind of followed his lead. Crosby is at the forefront of it, as you would expect if the Penguins are going to make any kind of run, and that is the reality, and everyone's embracing it and excited about this final week of the season.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Yes, it is. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. We got lots to get to today. Where's my bell? Oh, it's hiding. Yeah, we got lots to get to. We got some breaking news coming down the pipe from the National Hockey League that we're going to get to in moments. Let's bring in the Moose. He's in Toronto. I've had to change up my quick 6 show topics because of you, Darren. And the breaking news, just so everybody knows, is to do with the Arizona Coyotes. But I'm just going to tease that. Everybody's just settling down, man. They're just getting into their seats. They're taking their first sips of coffee, including yourself. So before we get into the breaking news, I will tell everybody we've got former NHL referee Tim Peel coming up in hour 1. Perfect timing there with Tim Peel. And Tyson Philpott, the star receiver returner of the Grey Cup champion Montreal Alouettes. Tyson Philpott will join us from the CFL, whatever they're doing there, the off-season marketing thing. He'll explain it to us when Tyson Philpott joins us in hour 2. Moose, listen, you're going to be featured in the quick 6 show topic 1, so just hang on. Director Jordan, can you hit the show horn, please, and we'll fire it up, and we'll go, and we'll do this. Hoorah! And along the way, we're going to tell some stories. We're going to do some stuff. But the reason I had to change all this was I was perusing the social media this morning a little bit, just getting ready for the show, wasn't getting sucked in the black hole that it is. And I thought about, or saw, Darren was at Rogers Center last night. That's right, the Moose. And he saw Bo Bichette hit a 2-run homer and Chris Bassett throw a solid 6 2/3 innings as the Toronto Blue Jays defeated the Seattle Mariners 5-3 at Rogers Center. Bichette went deep off Seattle starter George Kirby in Toronto's 3-run third. The Jays tacked on 2 more runs in the 4th en route to securing their first series win of the season. Woohoo! And the haters and the critics have gone silent. They're bitching about something else now. The 6-6 Jays look to sweep the Mariners in a matinee today at Rogers Center. But you were there. Who cares what I'm going to say? What? You were pounding hot dogs, which we'll get to, but it just looked like a great night at the old ballpark.
It was. And you talk about the haters. You know, they won the series with the finisher coming up today. They're undefeated at home, Rod. They're unbeaten at home. So 2 games in, everybody's excited again. You know, it was great. The ballpark renos look really sharp. I want to remember a bunch of royal blue, maybe some baby blue. Well, now the whole stadium is that deep, dark navy. The whole stadium is navy with little touches of the powdered blue. It looks really sharp. The renos are great. Added seats in the lower bowl look really great. Everything looks good. We're sitting in the outfield. Our seats are in the outfield for the year. But we got good seats. We're right in that right field corner, right behind the Jays bullpen, inside the third baseline, 9 rows up. But the one disappointment, not knowing this wasn't in the ticket package, the overhead from the second deck above us kind of comes over and blocks our view of the scoreboard. So that's a little disappointing not seeing the scoreboard. But if that's all I'm complaining about after one night at the ballpark, I think we're pretty good.
It's probably why you got your tickets so cheap. But here's the thing. I said to Darren, don't be afraid to tell the story on the air, because we're on Game Plus Television, which is headquartered, anchored out of Toronto. There's a lot of Blue Jays fans watching right now that can empathize with your plight. At the very least, sympathize. And it's like, it's a little amazing to me that they would go through all these renos, downsize the capacity. You know, renos are an exciting thing, and then you've got obstructed views, not of the field, but of the scoreboard. That ain't great. And before we move on to hockey, I'm a little surprised at the amount of hot dogs that you're able to put away. And I'll warn you a little bit, I'm not sure that it's healthy. But tell the people, I guess it was hot dog wiener night there last night. What's the deal on that?
They do it a few times a year. This year, anytime a Jays game falls on a Tuesday, they're going to do Looney Dog Night. So literally every hot dog is $1 plus a little tax. So I think it's $1.12 or $1.13 or whatever it is. It's great. The lineups aren't too bad. And last year I went with my sister to a ball game, and I had 7 hot dogs. They're not big. They're fairly small. I had 6 hot dogs last night. I'll be honest. I was thinking I wasn't going to get that far, but I had 6 hot dogs. I think in the stadium, I think it was around 60,000 hot dogs were eaten in one night last night. Pretty phenomenal. Last year, I think they set the record for almost 72,000 hot dogs in one game. It's a cool promotion. You still pay $15 for a beer, though.
It's not a bad way to start the season with 60,000 sold. I'm sitting here, to be honest, I'm impressed. Bravo, I guess, that you were able to put away 6. I'd like to see the hot dogs myself just to see how the size of them. Are they standard? I think the most that I put away in a Wiener Wednesday at Pat's games back in the day were 5. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if I'm boring or what, but I now preach moderation. I was the guy eating as much, drinking as much, driving as fast as I can, doing everything fast. It didn't work out so well. So now I say, don't eat so much. I'm that guy now, preaching moderation, and maybe it's not as much fun. I'm not sure. I do know that I'm healthier now than I ever have been. I will say that. 902-518-3033. Thanks, guys, for the reminder. The Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beers text line is open. 902-518-3033 with whatever you would like to talk about today. Yeah, this is a day where we're throwing it all out of order. But just before we went to air, I saw a tweet from our good friend Farhan Lalji from TSN saying that the NHL is drafting 2 schedules for next year. One for a Utah NHL team and one for an Arizona NHL team. And I will be honest, there's a reason why the insiders are the insiders. And this morning when I was out for my run, I was listening to NHL radio like I always do, and Elliot Friedman was on there from Sportsnet, and he was talking very deeply about the Arizona Coyotes situation. And literally, it's like, to quote John Frenzy, where there's smoke, there's fire, especially if an esteemed insider like Elliot Friedman's on the story. You know what I mean? It's not just a couple of boobs on a podcast talking. There's something here. So that's, just hang on. I'll come back on that. So that's kind of quasi point 2. So we'll go to point 3. Kyle Connor scored in overtime at 1:52 to give the visiting Winnipeg Jets a 4-3 win over Nashville last night. Mark Scheifele had a goal and 2 assists. Connor Hellebuck made a season-high 45 saves for Winnipeg, who have won 4 in a row. they're rounding their game into form, so I'm sure there's no panic in Winnipeg today. Here in Sunrise last night, Anthony Stolarz stopped 25 shots and had an assist. Anton Lundell and Nick Cousins scored, and the Florida Panthers blanked Ottawa 2-0. You know our friend Ash, he put on Facebook that the on-ice scrapers, the ice crew, showed more heart than the Ottawa Senators. Ash used to own a pro sports team in Ottawa, so he's got an affinity for that particular city and I guess the Senators. They lost 2-0. They don't care. I had Sens fans writing me on Twitter last night saying, could it just be over? It's not there yet. It's a dwindling, sad end to the season. And to be honest, I'm glad I didn't go to the game last night. Doesn't sound like I missed much. And you and I were both right predicting the winner. Alex Ovechkin and Dylan Strome scored a minute apart in the second period. Charlie Lindgren finished with 42 saves, and Washington held on to beat Detroit 2-1 in a matchup of teams vying for a spot in the Eastern Conference. Austin Matthews scored a 66th goal, an inch closer to becoming the 9th player in NHL history to tally 70 goals in a season as the Leafs dumped New Jersey 5-2. That snuffed out the Devils' playoff hopes. In Montreal, Juraj Slafkovsky scored his first career hattie. Montreal dealt stumbling Philadelphia their 8th straight defeat with a 9-3 blowout win. And in San Jose, Andrei Kuzmenko scored a power play goal, 2:58 into overtime, and Calgary came back to beat San Jose 3-2. In our breakaway bets competition, you won. You may or may not know that. You won 8-7. As the games were falling last night, I was like, oh, this is going to be close. And it was close, but you won 8-7. It's sport betting, people. Darren and I picked the games, but for no money. It's just for fun. And dagnabbit, it's fun. It's like sport fishing, where you catch the fish and you throw it back. This is sport betting, where you bet on the games, but don't put a wager on it. It's a remarkably fun. It's, I guess, similar to non-alcoholic beer. Tastes great. Doesn't quite get the job done, but the idea is there. And it's the thought that counts. So what's your NHL leftover comments before we go back to the Arizona thing?
Yeah, you and I didn't want to have a 3-point night. Washington, Detroit, we didn't. Big win for Washington. A couple of tough ones. I mean, Philadelphia losing 9-3 to Montreal feels like a nail in the coffin for that team. And I know the ownership and the organization management in Philadelphia has said that John Tortorella is safe. They've come out today and said, you know, he will not be fired. He'll be back. Which, you know what? I'm a Torts fan, so I'm okay with that. But that's a season-defining loss for Philadelphia last night, when your playoff lives are hanging in the balance and you can't beat Montreal. And not just can't beat them, you kind of get embarrassed. That's tough. And Matthews, just, you know, he needed 8 goals in 8 games, and just one game at a time. He's getting a goal per game. I feel like he's going to get right to 79 goals and then, or 69 goals, and then that's going to be it. You know, I feel like he's going to get right there and maybe not over the hump. So it'll be fun little races to watch at the end of the year.
You are ready to go with some leftover thoughts. Wait, bravo, Moose. I guess I kind of gave mine as we went along. From the audience, I'll dip my toe in the comments before I go any further. Monty in Saskatoon writes in and says, next time, take a picture of the hot dog. Did you not take a picture of that? I didn't notice if you did or not. I think you did, didn't you?
There was a couple of pictures there floating around.
It's an average size hot dog, right? Like basically maybe the size of your hand?
Average to small. If I paid $7 or $8 for this hot dog, I'd be disappointed. But it was definitely a hot dog. Like, it was still a hot dog.
Hot damn!
Yeah, it wasn't a meager, cheap thing, right?
No.
And 6 of them Moose put away last night at the Blue Jays game. John Ohm says, Arizona Coyotes, bite me. Bitter since 1996. Boom. I don't blame you, but John, I feel like you and I could spend a lot of time together. We need to get over things in life. We need to get over things. And by the way, I went into Johnny O's gymnasium this morning getting ready for my run. I was wearing that nice Coyotes hockey shirt that everybody goes nuts for when I wear it. It's a nice shirt. Guy sitting at the door, he was working there at Johnny O's. He's like, the Coyotes. What kind of season are you having? I said, well, number 1, I'm not the Coyotes. Number 2, we're the worst team in the league. But thanks. Everybody broke out laughing, and I kept on my way. So I wear it for workouts now. It's not formal wear. Bill in Toronto, he's a Leafs fan, but he's from the Queen City, the guy that sent me my Ron and Don bobblehead, which I don't have out today. Shame on me. I'll put it out in the break. Bill says, morning all. From windy Regina, the Leafs look good, even with the line mixing trials, getting ready for playoffs. From Jamie Neugebauer, Nugsy, the Elliot Friedman of the SJHL. He says Krakens would smoke any Coyote, by the way.
How about that?
He saw that discussion yesterday that the Coyotes, I said the Coyotes would win a fight against a Kraken any day. Well, it didn't happen. I don't even know what a Kraken is. Nugsy was with producer Clark last night. They were in Humboldt. The game went to triple overtime till 4 a.m. And then Nugsy was whining on social media saying that we need to go easy on producer Clark, that he didn't get home till 4 a.m. and then had to turn around and produce the show today. There was a lot of older sports people like myself. Our reaction was, what? Game went to triple overtime. Got to work the next day. We've all been there. We're not there now, are we? You got to take a day off the next day because the game went. Clark's here. Clark's not whining. There's Nugsy. Exactly. I'm saying that I'll handle the show.
Bingo.
Clark just said, in fairness, I wasn't whining. No, you weren't. It was Nugsy on your behalf. Go easy on Clark. You said he was out till 4 in the morning. Clark wasn't whining. I guess Nugsy's the soft one in this little TED Talk we're doing here. What do you got?
But Clark better not slip up today. That's all I got to say. No sleeping at the wheel.
He's here.
Yes.
I'm not so worried about that. He's here, and he's not complaining. It's a win. From Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, regarding the 6 hot dogs you put away. He says, Darren's sodium count is trending in the same direction as this show. Up. I agree. Colin in Ottawa writes in, he says, some great guests on today's RP show. Tim Peel and Tyson Philpott are good gets. Hey, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. And as a matter of fact, Tim Peel would have some interesting thoughts, I would think, on this Arizona situation. I will say it again. I don't know why Canadians, and therefore our audience, 90% of our audience are Canadians, they love the Coyotes story. It shocks the hell out of me. The team's in Phoenix. It's not even in Canada. Why do you think they care so much? I don't know. Why do you care so much, everybody? Let me know, please. I don't know why that would be. It's cool, but I don't know.
It's very cool. Obviously, lots of Canadians down there that because they were the Winnipeg Jets. And I think people want to look at, you took the team away from Winnipeg. Well, look what they're doing in Arizona. You guys messed up. You should have kept it here. Look how our teams do. You know what I mean? And I think you want to always point the finger and do a little na. And, but it's also intriguing, too, because when a team is struggling like Arizona has on the business side to really solidify that, it struggled on the ice. Places like Utah, Atlanta, people in Canada, Quebec City, Houston, they all get optimistic because when there's a teetering franchise, there's always an opportunity or a chance that your city might get an NHL team.
Yeah. Well, and Elliot Friedman this morning mentioned San Diego as an NHL landing spot. And I was like, have not heard San Diego. I'm all for it, by the way, as they build themselves America's finest city. I love San Diego, and I think they like hockey there. But I got to say, Atlanta, I'm waving the flag for Atlanta. You too, Rhino Radio down there at WQEE, but that's just us. One thing I think, okay, we're going to break. We'll come back. I knew we'd be in one. When we come back, we'll continue this. Tim Peel and Tyson Philpott on the way. We are live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody, reward your love of movies by signing up for Landmark Extras for free today. Get more of what you love. Free movies, free concession items, if you can believe, invitations to exclusive screenings, special events, and more. There are 3 programs to choose from. Sign up for free, and you can get the details all at landmarkcinemas.com. Please bring in the moose. We've got a lot to get to today. It's a fun day. They all are here, 902-518-3033. I do enjoy the live. It's the one thing, man, the live shows are great. I understand podcasts are very popular, but as I was listening to NHL radio this morning, right in the middle of the show, Scott Laughlin and Gordon Stellick, the NHL Players Association dropped their survey from the players. What's the best road city? What's the hardest rink to play in? Who's the one goalie you'd want to win one game? That's from the players. That dropped today in the middle of the show. I was like, oh, this is awesome. And I'll probably spend more time on it later on today when Serena and I record the Cats and Bolts podcast. But you see what I mean? Podcasts are cool, but there's nothing quite the same as the live vibe. You know what I mean? Do you have any thoughts on the opening segment before I jump into the comments from the viewers?
Well, I think there's a little bit more in this, Arizona-Utah story, and I'm not sure how much more you want to get into it, but, just some final thoughts
I got all day
on that. I think, what's interesting is the NHL going to create two schedules. One schedule where the team is still in Arizona and another schedule where they're going to play next year in Salt Lake City. And I think what that does is gives you a little bit of urgency and a little bit of get something done or we're moving on. Because empty threats, as soon as you call the bluff of an empty threat, it's hard to bluff again, right? So now you have to get real quick. And Arizona's been in this little flux for a long time of if the city doesn't do us, we're going to leave. If they don't do it, we're going to leave. And the city says, okay, we're not doing an arena. And the team doesn't leave. Oh, we're ending the arena here. The team still doesn't leave. The NHL doesn't move them. So finally, the league says, we've got a schedule for next year. So if this isn't done, here's the new schedule. And now it creates a little urgency of, a timeline. And I think now we're going to get some finality, hopefully, in the situation.
Again, you say you hope you don't mind. I don't mind you talking about it. I got all day for this. I don't understand why people like it so much, but guess what? I like it too, and I'm here for it. So, like Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg writes in, he goes, San Diego makes perfect sense as an NHL landing spot. It's a big city with no NBA competition. Only question is whether the Kings and Ducks would block it since they see that as their territory. Yeah, that's the thing. When you get egos in there and blah, 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 it really muddles things up. He makes a lot of great points there. From Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, he says, hockey fans in Canada have been calling the Arizona franchise a disaster for what feels like forever. Now that it's come out that they may be moving, it's time for those people's I told you so moment. Yeah, I'm actually here for all of it. Like, I don't even know where this is going, and I'm not sure if this news today is should be believed. That's the other thing. Nelson goes on to say people instinctually love to watch dumpster fires. It's why reality TV exists. LOL. That's a good point, too.
It is. Mm-hmm. And there's two other things. It's such human nature. Winnipeg is the X, right? And Houston and Atlanta and Salt Lake City in Utah, they're all the single guys. And they've just noticed a little fight or some cryptic messages on Facebook, and they see some photos. Oh, he's not in, and they're not in each other's profile photo anymore. They might be breaking up. So all the single guys get excited and start hitting up the DMs, right? They're all getting excited that and the ex is like, it didn't work out. You left me and it's not working. So it's just human nature to see your ex want to not be happy and, to see somebody come on the market. It's exciting for the people in Utah and potentially Atlanta.
Utah, Darren writes in and he says, say it ain't so, Rod. Utah in the NHL? What's next? The Winter Olympics? Here's a guy that doesn't understand what I'm saying. I'm not anti-Utah. What I said was if the team's going to move anywhere, I would love for it to be Atlanta. I understand that would constitute switching conferences and all the rest. Hey, if you want to go to Salt Lake City, go ahead, fill your boots. I don't care. But I'll say another one from John. Says the Arizona desert is a landscape where little fan support occurs, and consequently, living conditions create unique problems and little solutions. The lack of support exposes the franchise from top to bottom. Okay, I'm getting tired of this because he's got an axe to grind with his Jets moving to Arizona in 1996, which I understand, but he's never ever going to get over that. And that's also fine. But it's not my grind, it's his. And the thing is, they're the worst team in the NHL, and they've been the worst team in the NHL for a very long time. They haven't made the playoffs since 2012, so don't blame the people of Phoenix. For people that longtime viewers know this, new viewers don't. A good friend of mine owned the Coyotes for about 4 years, so I was there a lot. And what the fans told me was if they would put a team on the ice, we'd fill this rink. They've been junk, and stop blaming us. I'll be honest, here with the Panthers situation, people in Canada still see in their mind the photos of the 3,000 people at a Panthers game, and they still laugh about it. Meanwhile, they sell out every game. You know what I mean? But what's happened? They're the number 2 odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup. If the Coyotes ever had that, you'd have a full rank there too. Why they can't get their act together, I don't know, but I'm tired of it. I appreciate the comments. What do you got? You got something?
No, you're right. Like everybody, the desert and Arizona is one of the great destinations that everybody wants to travel to and spend their time. Florida's the other, Southern California. These are all places. Yeah. And it's crazy. A 12-year rebuild, and they're still missing the playoffs? That's tough, man.
I don't know, man. As somebody in the broadcast industry said when we started this show 6 years ago, they said this is the absolute ideal spot for Rod doing this show because I can't bite my tongue. I don't know where to start. When that friend of mine owned the Coyotes, he flew me in to meet with all of their departments. And I will say one thing that came out of the meeting with their marketing people was they said there's 700,000 Canadians living here. We don't understand why the Canadians don't come to the games. I said, yeah, but there's 5.3 million Americans here. Why do you try getting Americans in the rink? Don't worry about the Canadians. No, it'll never work. It'll never. Flew home, talked to my friend. He goes, how'd it go? I said, you got to fire them all. They had a reason why none of it would ever work. He ended up selling the team. He was just tired of the fight. David in Winnipeg, David number 1, he says, Kyle Connor, ladies and gentlemen, he may cost us turnovers in games for the Jets, but boy, oh boy, does he have a wicked wrister. Well, that's another one. I told you Kyle Connor is a liability. And I know, Michael Wynn, you're watching right now at Ice Time Sports in Winnipeg, and you freak out every time I say that, but you wait. Guys like that do tend to cost you at inopportune times. By the way, switching gears for a second, just on the topic, Ken Gill, he's a big, can we say, alternative football fan from the States. He watches this every day in Pennsylvania. And he just sent out, he tweeted and tagged us, the ratings for all television sports in America. What do you think was the most watched? Well, you don't have college basketball here, Ken, so hang on. That ruined it all. NASCAR, this is average audience. NASCAR, 1.53 million viewers. Then Major League Baseball, 1.06 million viewers. This is average. United Football League, 844 average. NHL, 740,000 average. MLS, 208,000. But if you're not going to put college basketball in here, what's the point? I think what he's trying to point out is the UFL averaged more viewers in America than the National Hockey League. But, bro, you're not the PR arm of the United Football League, okay? You enjoy it. Not everybody is. And it's not a huge shock that more Americans would watch a minor league football league game than the NHL because it's a football country. What's your point? I guess is what I'm getting at. Anything else, Darren, before we move on?
It's football versus hockey in the United States. And you can never judge. You can never judge the success that something's going to have long term based on one outing, especially the United Football League when it's so early in the season. Talk to me in week 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Or like later in the year versus NHL, or whatever. That'll be a better comparison. I'm not saying it's going to change. It's the same with NCAA women's basketball, 18 million viewers. That's phenomenal. Doesn't mean you're going to get that same type of viewership during the middle of January in the regular season. It's just not going to happen. So, the event side of it is what people are watching.
Terry in Calgary, Terry the lawyer, writes in and he says, Rod, why do you think Atlanta would be a success after 2 dismal failures? Have you heard of the Ottawa Red Blacks? This is the 97th time I've had this conversation, but my mom when they put an expansion team in Ottawa for 2014 in the Canadian Football League, my mom said, why would you go back there? Ottawa Rough Riders folded, Ottawa Red Blacks folded. I guess why try again? Let's just give up. That is my example of why you shouldn't give up on a market, Terry. That's all I can say. Not to mention the fact that we air on the radio in Atlanta every day on WQEE radio. We are Atlanta's NHL show. Everybody's got an agenda, right? And that's my point. I don't have a flag here right now, but if I waved it, it would be for the city of Atlanta. We're waving the flag. We're putting in our effort for Atlanta. If the NHL doesn't agree, fine, but we're just doing our part. Okay? What else? Point four, Tyrese Halliburton scored 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists to lead the visiting Indiana Pacers past the Raptors, 140-123 in NBA play. Spicy P got a nice ovation last night in his return. Raptors play here Friday and Sunday. I have NHLPA down here, but that's going to have to push till next hour. It's the fun survey that came out just this morning from the NHL Players Association. What's the best road city? What's the toughest road barn? Who's the toughest defenseman to play against in his zone? Who's the one forward you'd pick if you had to win one game? All that. And then our poll question we didn't even get to. Tiger Woods is 48 years old and coping with injuries that limit his practice and how often he can play. What he hasn't lost is hope. Tiger says he still thinks he can win the Masters and match Jack Nicklaus with a 6th green jacket. The evidence is stacked against him, most notably that he has played only 24 holes in one tournament this year. He's got a chance this week to set the Masters record by making his 24th consecutive cut. Freddie Couples currently shares the record, and he says Tiger isn't thinking about that. Couples says Tiger is playing to win. That's our poll question. Who will win the Masters this week, a PGA player or a LIV player? We'll talk about that next hour, too. Tim Peel's coming up next. Thanks, Moose. Hope you're having fun. I know I am.
You bet.
We'll be right back with Tim Peel on the Game Plus television network. We're live across Canada on the Game Plus TV network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The race for the Cantera Seed Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seeds Cup on Flow Hockey TV.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest, Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Hey, when we talk hockey, it's brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. They're located 28th Street Northeast in Calgary. If you want to check out their live tap room, but they got big screens in there, you can visit their website at commoncrown.ca. Well, our next guest is Tim Peel, longtime NHL referee. He was always fun to watch on the ice. Now he's fun to follow on social media. He is not shy of opinions. Tim, welcome back to the RP Show. How you doing, brother?
Thanks a lot, Rod. I appreciate you having me on. I've tried to be a little less controversial the last few months on social media. I kind of needed to tone it down a bit. So I find it's the sewer. It's the sewer of our society sometimes.
There's no doubt about that. Well, we will keep it civil today. I will just say this. You've seen the Arizona news. I'm sure everybody's got an opinion, and I'm sure you do too. Why do you think people are so fascinated with that Coyotes just ownership situation and where they are, and where do you see it going from what you know?
Well, it's unfortunate because Arizona actually is a really good hockey market. You know, my partner on the show that I do with Jeremy Roenick, when he was there in the Keith Tkachuk era, Habby Boolin, they played at the American Airlines Center where the NBA team plays, and they were sold out every night because it was downtown. They had a great location. The biggest mistake the NHL made was moving it out to Glendale because we didn't like driving out there and we had to work that night. So we would stay try to find a hotel close to the arena because of the traffic. That was the biggest mistake they made, because it's really unfortunate because they do have a good fan base. It's centrally, it's located, it's in a good spot close to LA and Anaheim, Vegas. They can have some good rivalries. I'd hate to see them move, but this is long overdue, unfortunately.
So you're saying, like, I'm with you. Went to many games there, and the fans say we've been terrible forever. If we had a good team, we'd go. But are you saying enough's enough? Time to stop pushing this ball up the hill? Is that what you're saying?
Well, the problem is, like, I know Clayton Keller, and he's never said anything to me, but the poor kid is a superstar. He's playing in an arena that seats 5,000 people. I don't care what kind of professional you are. That's got to be really difficult to go in. You're heading to play an NHL game. You're driving up to the Mullet Arena. I guarantee you their locker room is like a glorified junior team, because they just don't have the space, compared to, the locker rooms in Edmonton, Toronto. Any NHL locker room is phenomenal. And I'm sure they're sitting there going, am I really in the NHL? Like, this sucks. And this guy is in the prime of his career. And so maybe it's time, Salt Lake City, it sounds like they're going to either get an expansion team or a relocation team. Ideally, the commissioner would love expansion teams because they'll probably get $1 billion. They really don't want to have to relocate a team because I don't think the price tag would be as high. But who knows? It's just all around. It's time for them to cut the cord, because even if they did sign a deal on the land in the next 60, 90 days, you're still now talking 2-3 years before a building is built.
Allie in Texarkana writes in and she says, I'm for Atlanta. Just stay out of Texas. She's a Stars fan. To be honest, I think if a team in Houston would be great for the Stars, but whatever, they probably like having the entire state for themselves.
Well,
Tim, when I saw that you were coming on, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to say your listener, we got to give her a shout out. Texarkana, that is where the infamous John Cooper, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning, had his start in coaching. My good friend Kelly Chase and Brett Hull owned a team in the North American Hockey League, and they were called the Texarkana Bandits. And they hired an unknown by the name of John Cooper, and the rest is history. And Pat Maroon played on that same team.
Wow. Speaking of Chaser, by the way, good Saskatchewan boy. What you were in St. Louis on the weekend? What was going on down there?
Yeah, Chaser had this phenomenal event. He's unbelievable. This I actually had lunch with him yesterday at the hospital. Today is his last chemo treatment. He gets out today. He's been in and out for the last 3-4 months. Today's his final chemo treatment. Things are looking good. But he put on this event, organized it from the hospital for the Siteman Cancer Center here, which is the center that's treating him for his acute leukemia. And he had a charity game with Blues alumni against NHL alumni. And they also had their NHL alumni meetings here. So Glenn Healy, the president of the alumni, was in town. And the people that he had come in, it's a real testament to Chaser and how much these guys love him. He had Chris Chelios, Pierre Turgeon, George Peros came in, Ryan Malone, Adam Burish. I'm missing a raft of guys like just Scotty Upshaw. Hull was in town to coach one team. But then the real icing on the top of it was he had Garth Brooks coach the other team, along with Sean Payton, the head coach of the Denver Broncos. And it was incredible. We went upstairs to a party after, and Garth Brooks, man, he spent 3 hours taking pictures with everybody. There were 700-800 people at this event. I went over to him and I said, Garth, my wife she got to get a picture with you. He goes, yeah, of course, Timmy. So I'm getting ready to take the picture, and he goes, well, don't you want in the picture? I go, yeah. And I get the nicest guy in the world. So anyway, Chaser's event raised close to $700,000. He organized this in 30-60 days. It's only Kelly Chase can do it. He's a legend here in St. Louis, and it was just a phenomenal event. Oh, forgot Brendan Shanahan was in. Like, big names that came in for this event. It was incredible.
Well, I enjoyed following it through you. And we are almost out of time, but I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about this. I was watching the Pittsburgh-Tampa game on the weekend. Yeah. Live when Steve Kazuri collided with Hayden Fleury, Carlisle Sass boy. That was scary, man, obviously, because they laid on the ice. I said they looked like Lego characters. It wasn't good.
I know.
What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on that? And I'm sure you've had incidents like that.
You know, it's tough when a player gets a blindside hit, and we've seen plenty of those over the years, and because you don't expect it. And Hayden Fleury didn't see Steve, and Steve didn't see Hayden, and Hayden looked like he was really shook up too. I hope he's okay. But I've texted with Steve, and he's doing okay. I didn't want to get into when are you going to get back, how long. I'm sure he has to have a concussion, because I think, Rod, he was out before he hit the ice, and because he hit his head right on Fleury's head or his shoulder. And that was really scary. And, you know, Steve Kazari's been in the league 17, 18 years. He's worked 4 Stanley Cup finals. He's worked over 1,100 games. We've had so much turnover in the last 4 or 5 years. We only have so many senior guys: Kelly Sutherland, Wes McCauley, Dan O'Rourke, Steve Kazari's one of them. And they need Steve right now down the stretch to work a Pittsburgh game, to work an Islander game, to work a Philly game. Any of these games that have playoff implications, you won't see the Stephen Walkham, the director of officiating, putting in a rookie in those situations. So they need Steve, and they need him back for the playoffs. So hopefully we'll see him soon, but that was definitely scary. And it's something about Southern Florida, because the only other time that was in Pittsburgh. The one other time that I saw a referee get seriously hurt was Don Van Massenhoven. Took a slap shot. It got deflected off a stick in Florida, and it hit him right between the eyes, and it literally caved in his forehead and broke his nose, to the point where this was 15 years ago. The doctors called his wife and they asked him if she could fax back then a picture of what Don looked like, because we want to reconstruct his face and his nose, and we've got to try to figure out. We want to try to come. I always joke with Don because he kind of looked like a bit of a Tom Selleck. Don Van Massenhoven was 6'5". He always had the mustache, former police officer. I always joked with Don. I said, you should have got your wife to fax a picture of Tom Selleck to the doctors and tell him, I want him to look exactly like this guy.
How about that?
You are proving that refs have the best stories, and the many terrible things about Mick Magoo, passing away at the young age that he did, because I say it's young. We just started doing banquets together, man, and it was a riot. So it was such a great guy. If you ever want to get on the banquet tour, you let me know, man, because you guys have the best stories.
Yeah, I'd love to do that, Rod. Before we go, you are right. I tell people Mick Magoo was the funniest guy on our staff. We would sit around at training camp. You're shaking your head because you know it. Like, we'd sit around and Mick would tell the same 10 stories that he told the training camp before, but his delivery and the way he told stories, he tells his story about how his house got caught on fire when he was a baby and he was all swaddled up, and he said the goat pushed him down the hill into the ditch. Now, none of us believed the story, but the way Mick told it, it was remarkable. And we would laugh and we'd be like, Mick, tell us another story. And yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, he had a heart attack and just gone way too soon. He was the best. I love the guy.
Yeah. 100% does 100% true story, Tim. But I was sitting there beside Lauren Mulligan watching Mick go. He's not saying this on the mic in front of all these. He didn't care. He didn't care. All right, Tim. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Let's do it again soon.
Thanks a lot, Rod. Have a great day.
NHL, you too. NHL referee Tim Peel. We're a little over time, but it was worth it. We'll be right back with a sports update after this on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics, Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
One of hip-hop's finest, Ice Cube.
You better check yourself or you wreck yourself, 'cause I'm back.
Straight into Canada tour. April 28th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I can't believe today was a good day.
Among the most influential rappers of all time, Ice Cube. On sale now at sasktix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Oh, man, I got to apologize to the viewers. This is just a quick segment. We got a lot of comments have come in on our variety of entertaining topics today. Here is the sports update. Jennifer Jones and Brad Jacobs bounced back from lopsided tournament opening losses with victories in today's early draw at the Grand Slam of Curling's Players' Championship in Tirana. Jennifer Jones scored 1 in the 7th end and stole 2 in the 8th for an 8-5 win over Italy's Stefania Constantini. Brad Jacobs from Sault Ste. Marie scored 2 in the 8th in a 6-5 win over Calgary's Kevin Cooey. He was on the wrong end of a rare curling shutout on Tuesday, losing 9-0 to Scotland's Bruce Mowat. Sports updates for Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. And for Landmark Cinemas, in Landmark Cinemas, May 3rd, The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. He's a stuntman, and like everyone in the stunt community, he gets blown up, shot at, crashed through, thrown through windows, and dropped from the highest of heights, all for our entertainment. And now this working-class hero has to track down a missing movie star, solve a conspiracy, and try to win back the love of his life, all while still doing his day job. What could possibly go right? The Fall Guy in Landmark Cinemas, May 3rd. From the text line, Tony is watching in Cochrane, Alberta. He says, I was in Phoenix on a business course during the 1996 playoffs before the Jets became the Coyotes. We were trying to catch the Flames and Blackhawks game at a sports bar, and we got the bartender to turn just one TV to that game. Everyone else was into watching the Phoenix Roadrunners game. So there are solid hockey fans in Arizona before the Jets arrived. Right? Thank you, Tony and Cochrane, for watching and chiming in. We'll get to the rest of your comments more with Moose and Tyson Philpott in hour 2 after this break here on Game Plus and Key Radio.
At the Key Auto Group Pre-Owned Division, we're bringing back that new car feeling. No matter what, it's new to you and priced just right. No hidden fees, prices you can trust, an upfront buying experience. And it's all at keyautogroup.ca.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The race for the Cantera Seats Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seats Cup on Flow Hockey TV.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
I could not believe how hard Sidney Crosby was working because Ovi has taken some nights off.
He's been a beast. I mean, he's taken it to a whole different level, and the team has kind of followed his lead. Crosby is at the forefront of it, as you would expect if the Penguins are going to make any kind of run, and that is the reality, and everyone's embracing it and excited about this final week of the season.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it absolutely is. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show's Hour 2. I knew that it was going to be fun today, but you people have far exceeded even my expectations for making this just a fun show. Broadcasting live from the South Florida studio, Moose is in the Toronto studio, and it goes fast. One thing about this show, it always goes fast. People think that we have ADD and we're all over the place, and they're right. But we also designed that. You never hear anybody say the show drags or it's boring. Have you ever heard anybody? I've never heard, through 1,219 shows, Darren, I've never heard anybody say it's boring. Have you?
No,
not once.
I can't say it's ever been boring. I can't say I've ever been bored sitting on this side of the camera either. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's what we want to be, entertaining. And so we got Tyson Philpott coming up in the next segment. Clark has reminded me to get in the breakaway bets in this segment. Just to recap Hour 1, if you missed us, where you been? Tim Peel was with us, famed NHL referee, and he's just so good. I mean, I could sit here and talk about referees till the cows come home. My friend Brent in Florida writes in, he says, hats off to Kelly Chase. I thought he was tough when he played, but seeing him now and what he is doing while fighting cancer makes him a superhero in my eyes. Well, there's no doubt, and Tim Peel talked about that fundraiser this past weekend in St. Louis, $700,000 they raised for the hospital where Chaser's receiving his cancer treatments. And Chaser married to a milestone gal. Allie from that's my hometown for those that don't know. Allie in Texarkana writes in and she says, you guys are definitely entertaining. Thank you. We're like casinos, Regina and Moose Jaw. Always entertaining.
How about that?
John in Edmonton writes in and says, why do you think the NHL is making 2 schedules for the upcoming season, with one with Arizona and one with Utah? Well, we talked about it for all of hour 1, John, and you know that. So we're not going to talk about the Arizona Coyotes a ton here in hour 2. It's all of hour 1 we did. So if you really want to talk about it, rewind and go watch that. But I will say this about referees. You know, a career in sports, I've been around, like you, all of the various facets of what we do. Officials, coaches, broadcasters, obviously, trainers, bus drivers, pilots, everything. And referees are an interesting group. And largely, they are pretty fun guys. They really are. I don't know if the officiating fraternity has changed from what we grew up with. I assume that it has, but I don't know, because I don't hang around with a lot of referees. They're not really fun guys. I think that's what made Mick Magoo stand out. He was so much fun. So much fun. And we only did 2 banquets together, and I'll never forget, bro. Me, him, and Jim McKenzie did a dinner in Estevan. I drove home. And Mick, like right after the banquet, and Mick was, we went through Weyburn at 2 a.m. going like 140K, maybe more. And Mick, and I was driving, I don't mind saying now because the statute of limitations has passed. And Mick, I'll never forget, he was at the passengers. He's like, there's a lot of money to be made in this gig. I said, yes, right? I said, we could do these things every weekend, Mick, you and me. And one thing about Mick Magoo, he loved money. We all do, but to the degree that he remembers the exact amount of his very first paycheck for ever reffing a game when he was like 12, reffing a senior game in Regina. It was $6.76. Like, he remembers every cent he ever made, Mick Magoo. And you want to talk about raunchy stories. We did a dinner, we only did 2 together. The second was in Sedley. And there were like seniors, ladies there. Not that they don't like the rock and roll either, but I mean, kind of watch your language. Like, I told a very off-color joke one night with Chris Nyland and Zenon Parkin, and even Knuckles looked at me like, really? I offended Knuckles Nyland. And then I felt bad, and Mick doesn't care. Mick did not care. Doesn't care. See what like these referees, man, you talk about thick skin. They don't just have thick skin. They got huge balls, too. You can't care. You literally can't care. And Mick translated that off the ice. I don't think refs care on the ice or off what people think about them. You can't, can you?
No, you really can't, especially if you're in that business. You know nobody likes you to begin with. As a referee, they're not there to watch you. So you must have thick skin, and you got to be really good at understanding this has nothing to do with me. They're just upset because their team got a penalty. Has nothing to do with me personally. And the other thing on, the statute of limitations of, passing and you being able to tell the story. And I don't think SGI is coming after you anymore, if they even can come after you anymore, for going 140 down the highway 20 years ago.
It was like 5 years ago, but whatever.
Hot damn.
We got some fun stuff going on here. I told you we were going to have fun. Carlos in Indianapolis watching. He says the leagues tend to shield their refs too. Darren would understand this because he counsels me in this a lot. You think they shield the refs. They shield the refs to all of us. But they rip the hell out of them behind the scenes that you don't even know about. You know that, Darren. And yeah, I guess I'm no longer a certified official anymore because apparently you have to get your certification every year. I didn't know that. But again, Mick Magoo's stories. Mon Dieu. He talks about Bettman. He does a half an hour just on Bettman. He said Bettman would call him on a Monday morning and go, Mick, you can't call the coaches beep, 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 blankety blank. And Mick's like, yeah, well, you tell them the second they stopped calling me a blankety blank, I'll stop calling them. Click. Right? Can you blame him? Yeah, so Mick would give it right back to the players and coaches because they were giving it to him. And by the way, Mick survived not only for years and years and years as a referee, but he became a supervisor too. And up till his death, he was working for the NHL. Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg writes in and he says, getting the right level of raunch for a sports dinner is an art. I know, and if I may say, there's nobody better than me. I've done literally into the thousands of these. I'm not joking. You need to read the room. Did one night with Lanny McDonald. Lanny was so upset. It was the Cougar men's alumni. Lanny shows up and he's and by the way, you know Lanny wouldn't say spit if his mouth was full of it. The classiest guy ever. He's the chairman of the Hockey Hall of Fame. And he's mad and he's kicking the ground. I'm like, what are you mad about, Lanny? And he goes, they told me there'd be no women here. I did a speech, just a raunchy speech, and now there's women here. And I said, listen, I know the women are here. They won't be offended. You're good. But it threw him off. It threw him off. You do need to read the room. John in Winnipeg says, I love Rod's rants. I'm not ranting about anything. Am I? I don't feel like I'm ranting. If I was ranting, you'd know.
Yeah. No, I don't think you are today. We would know today for sure, unless they're just referring to generally, like, you know, the stories and whatnot. But no, I don't think so.
If I was ranting, you'd know, bro.
Yeah.
The Paul in Humboldt writes in, and he says, the referees won the 50-50 last night in Humboldt. They got overtime pay after all, LOL. How about that? The referees won the 50-50. And then the game went to triple overtime. And Humboldt won, right, Clark? 3-2? Yeah. Kudos to Clark, by the way. He was there. Didn't get home till 4 in the morning. And he's here operating the show today. Producer Clark, he was there. So, yeah. Wayne in BC says, I love when Rod gets fired up. Then when he rants, it's golden. Again, not ranting today. Patrolman Pete says, I need to see Rod live at a sports dinner someday. Bucket list item. You're going to see me get wound up. And Darren knows that. You know where this is going, Darren, so don't worry. I can tell you're just sitting there being entertained like everybody else. I have a couple sports dinners lined up this weekend in Saskatchewan. It would be really nice if Manitoba and Alberta did sports banquets like we do in Saskatchewan, but for whatever reason you don't, so whatever. We had one lined up, and then my business guy, Joe, my manager, called me and said, well, they had to move it. And I said, what do you mean they had to move it? It's the same weekend as Craven. For those that don't know, that's the country music jamboree that draws 35,000 people, which, by the way, I kind of understand, because for 25 years the world stopped for me for Craven. But I said, you know, you ain't never going to change how they think. But Darren's in Toronto. How many people are there, Darren? 6 million? 6 million?
A lot.
What's in Toronto?
Yeah.
Yeah. 10.5
like
million
that.
here. Guess.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
No, that's what it is. I think it's 2 point something in the city of Toronto. Mississauga, where I am, is another 800,000-900,000. It's a lot of people in the GTA. It's like 6 million plus.
111 Eastern, by the way. 10.5 million people here in South Florida. They don't care if something else is going on. They just put it on. Now, I understand that I'm not going to say what the town is, but they had to move the banquet because they discovered it was Craven Week. And I'm like, oh, for the love of God, just put it on. Is the whole town going to Craven? I don't think so. Patrolman Pete says, the Ukrainian Sportsman's Dinner is an epic sports dinner in Winnipeg. It was the first place I ever saw Dave Patrician, the sports doctor. At first, I thought he was Guy Fieri. You know, I know, he looks just like him. Darren went to the Blue Jays game last night, and by the way, they're going for a sweep this afternoon against Seattle. Toughest thing in my life right now is just letting it go. Like I'm actually staying off social media, and to be honest, stress has gone down. I would advocate everybody else do the same, but you know what? You do you. We're in the era of you do you. You know, Clark was saying over the weekend that all the Jays fans are all wound up that they're not scoring enough offense. Well, now they're on the verge of sweeping Seattle. And do you feel silly for wasting all that energy over the weekend and all of last week that the Blue Jays couldn't hit the ball when they're about to sweep Seattle? Like, for the love of God, or as you said, Darren, unbeaten at home because they won last night. Darren pounded 6 hot dogs on the Looney hot dog night. And Brian in Hudson Bay writes in and he says, good morning, guys. How many $18 beers did Moose need to wash those hot dogs down with? And by the way, Brian says, today your old job is getting filled, Rod. Worst kept secret, though, as to who is going to. Have a great show, guys. We talked about it yesterday. They're naming a new voice of the Rough Riders. Dave Thomas, Justin Dunk going in there. Great guys. We love them. It's a whole new era of Rough Rider football and Rider radio. We applaud it and wish them the best. We have new lives now, and this is it. How many $18 beers did you have to drink, Moose, last night?
I know. I'm not a guy who's going to spend $18 multiple times for drinks. So we had a margarita. They had these cans of margaritas, I will say. 2 of them was about $32 or $33 for 2. We had 1. You know, they were good. They were 12.5%. They packed a punch. I don't think I could have had 2 or 3 of them, but we had 1 margarita, no beer last night.
Moose has season tickets to the Toronto Blue Jays. Clearly, he's not going this afternoon, but he has an obstructed view of the video board. I would be complaining. That's just me. I would be sending a complaint into Rogers Communications. I can't see the scoreboard for the love of God, but that's you do you. Sharon writes in from New Westminster, BC. And on the Sober Carpenter text line, she says, Flin Flon Bombers win the semifinals, 4-game win with a huge goal from forward Matt Egan. 3 playoff goals so far. Love your show, and thank you for your video on Matt at Christmas. And then follow up with the coach 3 weeks ago. Take care. Sharon Fisher, signed Matt's grandmother. Her wonderful grandson has had a cancer battle. He's recovered from it. Scored last night as the Bombers swept the Stars. To be honest, I'm not that happy with that because I'm a Stars guy. I have a very close affiliation with that team, but hey, you can't win it every year. Thank you, Sharon, for watching, and you've done a great job with both your son and your grandson. Bet breakaway picks, Darren. Only 3 NHL games tonight. Trying to get my head into it here because I don't want to lose to you again. Darren picked 8 right last night. I picked 7 right. I don't like to lose. Chicago at St. Louis. Who wins?
St. Louis.
Screwing with my... Oh, you're very confident. I'll take Bedard. Vegas at Edmonton. Game of the night by far. Who you taking? Ooh. I'm taking Edmonton.
Okay, I'll take Vegas. I don't think McDavid's going to play. I'll take Vegas.
Arizona at Vancouver. Who wins?
Vancouver.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Thank God we disagreed on the others.
Yes.
And by the way, tonight, NBA Toronto at Brooklyn. We did not get into much golf talk today, and quite frankly, I'm okay with that. If you want to come back later, Moose, we can. We probably should, because that's the poll question today. Who's going to win the Masters, a PGA member or a LIV member? Surprise me later. If you're here, great. If you're not, that's fine, too. I won't be upset. Toodles.
All right. We'll talk golf.
All right. Tyson Philpott of the Alouettes is coming up next. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
3033. 902 518 3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The race for the Cantera Seats Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. The SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seats Cup on Flow Hockey TV.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
RP show continues on a Wednesday, episode number 1219 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. We are Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show here on Game Plus TV, streaming, and WQEE radio. I got to say this before we bring him in. Tyson Philpott almost already, and I'm not joking, has a Hall of Fame resume. Delta BC kid, his dad Corey, a CFL great. Grey Cup champion 2023, Grey Cup MVP 2023, won the Vanier Cup in 2019 with the UFC Dinos. Of course, he's with the Alouettes, first-round pick. I kind of wondering what you do for an encore. Just keep winning, I guess. Tyson Philpott joins us today from... Tyson, you got to tell me what you guys are doing, where you are and what you're doing with the CFL this week. Sounds really cool.
For sure, yeah. Currently, we're in Hamilton at the Sheraton Hotel, and we're shooting some content for the CFL, for some commercials, and for some other media opportunities, just to expand the brand, you know, and promote the CFL.
Okay, I love it, and I appreciate them setting us up with you. It's the first time, by the way, I've had you on the program, so it's an honor to speak with you, Tyson. I'm not joking with what I said. And what I didn't mention is winning the game-winning touchdown to win the Grey Cup in the hammer. Literally,
yes, sir.
Brother, what do you do for an encore? It's been a hell of a career so far, man. You must feel very blessed.
Oh, extremely blessed, you know, starting from my entrance into the league and being able to be drafted in the first round. But yeah, it's just, I feel like it's just a testament to how hard I work. And, you know, it's been a long journey. You know, I made a goal for myself when I was 6 years old when I started playing football that I wanted to do what my dad did. Just growing up, having that Grey Cup ring in the house and being able to see it and, you know, tackle my brother and just imagine myself getting there. It's just been an extreme honor, like you said, to just get here and build that resume. But the goal now is to defend the Grey Cup and, and add some more championships to this finger, to this hand.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you always got to have goals. But, I mean, I worked in the CFL full-time for 20 years and first started working in the CFL in 1991. So I've been around it, followed your dad's career, and you and your brother. And when you guys were little, everybody told me these guys are pros already. When you were 8, they said you and Jalen were pros. And they said that's because of your dad and the upbringings. Can you talk about that? What was it like being raised by Corey Philpott and that family?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I spoke about before about seeing that Grey Cup ring growing up and just like envisioning that was something me and Jalen used to always do. And having my dad there, with the pedigree he did, playing at University of Ole Miss, doing the whole American route and then coming up to Canada and excelling with the BC Lions. It's just, like I said, it's always been a dream. And, to have him there in our corner to always pick us up whenever we need it, or just to take the stern, hard lessons as well. He never beat around the bush. He always gave it to us straight and made sure that we were going to be prepared when we stepped on the level, the highest level. And also my mom too, my mom's, she's not the athlete in the family, but she's the one that drove me to practice every day. I never forget about her. She ultimately prepared me to be a pro, and I owe it to both of them.
Good for you for throwing that in there, by the way, because my dad won a Stanley Cup, and my mom said, "What about me? I was around." So I totally get that, Tyson. Before I get to your pro career, I'm just thinking about the draft. Was that the first time that you and your twin brother got split and like literally went your separate ways? Like, did you want to go to the same team, or were you ready for a change by that point in your life and kind of carve out your own road?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was definitely our first time ever being potentially separated, which obviously did end up happening. But I think at that point, that was a big question. A lot of the teams asked, do we want to stay together? How did we feel like that was going to affect our gameplay? But I think at that point in time, we were both ready to make a name for ourselves. Both very confident in our game, obviously played very well together. We have that telekinetic communication that we can use on the field. But ultimately, just wanted to make a name for ourselves and, show that we didn't need the other guy to, kind of boost the other guy up if someone wasn't doing as well. So just prove that we're both ballers, and who knows, one day if we end up on the same team, that would be cool too. But ultimately right now, just carving our own name. And I think we've done a good job of that.
Oh, you have. And I'm serious when I say, where do you go from here? Like, I remember your rookie season, one of your first games, I think you returned a kick for a touchdown. We were all watching that, and I was in Florida at the time. We're like, whoa, this ain't your average U Sports guy. I mean, the level of CFL play, it's pro. It's not even close to university, but you kind of made it look easy. What prepared you so well for it?
Yeah, definitely give props to the University of Calgary. I feel like they run a very pro-ready organization over there, that just proves in the numbers of guys that we've put in the league and consistently stay in the league every year. But just the confidence in my game that my dad instilled in me as a young kid, and my trainer, is just to be confident and play the game like you did when you're 5, 6 years old. Always felt like if you can raise your competition level and compete at the highest level, you'll always be confident. So I've always just put my nose down, worked hard, and when the stage is set, when it's the biggest stage, it's time to play ball. So just that confidence.
So my favorite football player on the planet is a guy by the name of Cody Fajardo. We're very close. And he will always, I think, be my favorite football player. He's that kind of guy. Tell our viewers a little bit about Cody, your relationship with him. Just talk about Cody. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, no, number 7, he knows that's my guy. Well, if you want to start at the beginning, obviously I was hurt at the start of last year, so our relationship did start slow. Obviously not being in practice at all, not being able to gain any reps with him and just get that kind of familiarity with him. But as a man, Cody is just so good for the team. He's such a good leader. He corrals the guys when he can feel that we're a little bit down or we need to step up our competition a little bit in practice. Like, he'll stop practice and let us know that we need to pick it up as an offense, at least. And then just to get on to that leadership, I'm sure by now everybody has seen that Grey Cup speech that he gave to us, and like ultimately that I feel like that is one of the motivations that helped us win, especially with how close it got down to the end. And like he said, just believing in what's in this room, and we don't need anybody else. I won't say what he said, but I can't remember the word, but this encapsulates what Cody is as a man and how he approaches the game.
Well, I watch everything he does with a fine-tooth comb. I can't say it either. He swore, which, by the way, for all of our viewers, and I appreciate everybody, I hope you're enjoying the CFL chat as much as we are all across North America, but Cody doesn't swear. He's the
no, he does not.
Cheese and rice. You know what I mean? He would not swear. And it was... F you, just watch. I mean, it's literally like when you scored that kick return. It was like, to hear Cody swear, you're like, whoa, he's serious, right? That kind of what grabbed the room, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Brought some tears to the eyes of a couple of guys, myself for sure. Coach Moss, you know, he following that speech, you know, like it was tough for him. But that would just show like that drive and that motivation in that locker room to get it done.
Okay, well, listen, I know how busy they keep you guys. I won't keep you much longer. I feel like I could talk to you all day. But let me just say this, coming back, I mean, a year ago, you just had a new owner. Everything seemed in flux. You had a new head coach. As a team, do you feel a lot more settled as an Alouette now and just chill with training camp just a few weeks away?
Yeah, most definitely. I think with us bringing back the core strong guys as well, it's great for the team. You know, the locker room that we had last year was the best locker room I've ever been in my whole football career. You know, it really felt like that college tight-knit, no fights. Like everyone knew what the job at hand was, and that's a testament to Coach Moss and what he preaches in the locker room. And, you know, the pickleball and the games that we played just bring us closer. But I think as an organization, me staying in Montreal pretty much the whole offseason and just watching everything build, it looks awesome, you know, with the renovations and just everything that we've done to get ourselves ready for this next season to defend the Grey Cup. I'm very excited, and that's what I'm excited about. No more talking about winning the Grey Cup. It's time to defend this thing.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm glad that you guys are playing pickleball because Cody was here playing spike ball. I think it was in Florida a couple years ago. Tore an oblique muscle. We don't need any more of that. So
no.
all I'll say, Tyson, is I've heard of you since you were little, and you came with a huge reputation and a good one, and you've exceeded it. It's just fun watching your career. So keep doing it, man, and thanks for the time today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you and all the kind words, and it was awesome to be on the show. Hopefully I can get on here another time.
We'll do it again. Absolutely, man. Good luck this year.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Tyson Philpott of the Grey Cup champion Montreal Alouettes. And I'm serious, by the way, which you know that I am. And we can either bring Moose in now or next segment. He said he wanted to come back and talk golf, but won the Grey Cup. Sure, a lot of guys have. Won a Vanier Cup, too. And the relation to that is this. Clark Gillies, who was celebrated the other day, posthumously celebrating his birthday. We all love Clarkie. Won a Stanley Cup, 4 Stanley Cups with the Islanders, but also a Memorial Cup with the Regina Pats. My point being, Clark always said, we can all sit around and talk about our Stanley Cup wins and how great they are, and we're blessed to be able to do that, but so few guys can sit around and say that they won a Memorial Cup. You got to just rub that in guys' faces. That's in NHL and hockey circles. It's not much different in football. You win a Grey Cup and a Vanier Cup. That's not the biggest club to be in. And this kid he was born in 2000. So is he even 24 yet? Won a Vanier, won a Grey Cup. Most valuable Canadian in the Grey Cup. Like, come on, slow down.
How about that?
Yeah. From the audience, thank you, John. Says, great interview. Well, the interview subjects are the reason for that. Patrolman Pete writes in and says, I'm getting PTSD just from seeing Tyson on my screen. That was a hell of a Grey Cup, and I don't even remember where I was when I watched it. Must have been streaming, I guess. Our VP of Sim Events, Nelson, says, tell us about Fajardo's Just Watch speech the day before Grey Cup. Well, I see I'm getting to this a little late. Colin in Ottawa says that halftime speech must have just brought their roof down because I thought the Grey Cup was over when the Alouettes were stopped on the Winnipeg 1-yard line before the first half was done. Right? The Alouettes could have been, if I remember, could have been up by 10 at halftime. As it turned out, they were down by like 4. 60-minute game. Wayne in BC says, I can see why teams would want to have Tyson on their team. And I've never interviewed his brother, Jalen, but I'm sure he's just the same. David, number 1 in Winnipeg, says, see you in week 1, Tyson. Grey Cup rematch. Jen from the Four Seasons writes in, and she says, important game tonight for the Oil, taking on Vegas. Don't think McDavid's playing tonight. You know what? We didn't even get into the NHL Players Association poll. I have it here, and maybe we will after the break. Spoiler alert, in the poll of if you could have just one forward in the NHL for one game to win, who would you pick? Connor McDavid. The players, 48.71% voted for Connor McDavid. The next closest was Sidney Crosby at 11%. Sidney Crosby. And then Nathan McKinnon with 6%, Nikita Kucherov with 5%. Spending like no time on this today. I would have liked to have spent more, but later on today, Serena and I are recording the Cats and Bolts podcast where we talk Florida Panthers and Tampa Bay Lightning hockey, and we're going to get deep into this. So you may want to be watching for that in the next 24 hours. But we'll be back with a sports update. More of really what you want to talk about. I feel like it's that kind of day. And by the way, we're getting these random messages from our viewers. If you're wherever you're watching live from right now, I would love, if you've never texted this show before, do it now. 902-518-3033. Got Cincinnati, Ohio the other day. New Westminster, BC today for the first time. Thank you, Sharon. If you're watching us live, I know it's rare. Not many shows does the host implore you to write him or her, but this is the one that does. 902-518-3033. Out of my own morbid curiosity, I'd love to know where you're watching from. The more obscure, the better. Brought to you by Sober Carpenter non-alcoholic craft beers. We'll be right back on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
April 28th, Moose Jaw Event Center.
I can't believe today was a good day.
Among the most influential rappers of all time, Ice Cube. On sale now at sasktix.ca or the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Yada, yada, da. Hope you're having a great time today. Man, it's turned into a good one. They all are, but this one just has a different feel. Hey, Allie in Texarkana, thank you. She says, do you mean text the sober line even though I'm on YouTube? You just write us however you want, Allie in Texarkana. Thank you. I appreciate you. Rodney, we can bring the Moose in. He can sit here and listen to these messages as well. Rodney writes in and says, so glad for Cody's success after a disastrous last season with the Rough Riders. Rodney in Melfort, Sask. Darren. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, no obstructed views at an Argos game. Is that true, Darren? There's no obstructed views at BMO Field?
Not that I know of. I haven't seen or found one yet.
The obstructed view was the broadcast booth, bro. Go up there. You've been in there. Have you gone in the visitors' radio booth at BMO Field?
Yes.
Trying to see the field? It's terrible. I feel if I did a sports banquet where I was the sole guest speaker, we'd go on for days. I guess that's why we have a show here. Obstructed views and broadcast locations. The old Victoria Arena where the Cougars used to play. Grand Fear, that was a terrible booth, cramped time like that. Who builds a brand new stadium? And then, well, the new ones have really tiny press boxes in some cases, and the old ones, it's completely forgotten about at all. Yeah. Buffalo Bill writes in. He says, an obscure place to watch is from Comertown, Montana. And he says, after the blue moon in Plentywood, Montana. I know you came to talk golf, and we will. Just humor me by people. I asked them to write in, and they are, right? With obscure places. But that blue moon in Plentywood, Montana, they have exotic dancers there. And I'll just say that when we were kids, i.e. late teens, we would go there. My mom would always know because we would come home and we'd have glitter on our face. And my mom would say, you boys went to the blue moon.
Oh, no.
There was no, couldn't stop and have a shower on our way home, you know. But she just knew. She wasn't even mad.
You couldn't do it. The most obstructed view, back at the beginning of my broadcast career in the SJHL, I was the voice of the Kindersley Clippers. We had a neutral site game in Gull Lake. And the arena, they had added on a lobby.
Been there.
And they had a press box in there before. And the press box, you know, a little square thing in the corner Well, now it was part of the lobby.
Yeah.
So I had to go into the lobby, then into this booth, which was into the rink, and the whole from the center ice line, you took a straight line from center ice on the boards all the way to the net on that angle, the whole corner was cut off. I couldn't see it, big wall. So I had to make up the play when it was down there, pretend who had the puck, what kind of battle was happening, and then all of a sudden the puck would be in the middle of the ice, and there was no arena sound because I was just in the hollowness of the lobby and then inside another booth. So it was the worst. That was awful for 2.5 hours, but we made it through.
Hey, bro. First game I ever broadcast in my whole pickin' life was Gull Lake, Saskatchewan, the home of Roger Aldag. It was a senior hockey game, and I'll never forget, I was in grade 11, and it was on Weyburn Radio, and we had other guy. I was like the gopher for a few weeks before that for these games, and then I'm trying to remember how it was a long time ago. It was almost 40 years ago, but our station manager, Jackie Fredette, I said, she's like, you're going to Gull Lake. There's a game there this weekend. And I said, okay, who's calling the game? And she said, you are. Right from that same waiting room that you're talking about. And what's interesting, by the way, is Serena, I want to say, is Canada's first ever female play-by-play announcer. She tells stories about calling games in Saskatoon. I think it's the Gemini Arena, or maybe the Schlo, where she had to call midget AAA games from inside the arena, and how unnerving it is because the whole waiting room's listening to you, right? It's terrible.
I know. Oh, man. It's so bad because you're so nervous. You're like, I'm nervous to talk to thousands of.
Is that just me?
I'm nervous to talk to. Something happened with my mic? You got me?
I can't hear Darren. Did I lose everybody? Or did you lose me?
I think.
Can you hear me? I can't hear Darren.
No. Can you hear Clark? This is too bad because this is good radio. I really want him to hear the story because, we're talking about first, broadcasts. My first broadcast was an SJHL game in North Battleford. I'd just been named the voice of the Kindersley Clippers, but it wasn't clear. And I don't remember the circumstances or why it wasn't clear. And just bring Rod back in once you get his audio fixed. But for some reason, there was no clear direction. So I literally was going to North Battleford to call my first game, but I didn't really know what I was doing. Again, it wasn't clear. So Mike Henschel was the other guy who was coming along with me to do color. But for whatever reason, we had talked about switching off periods of who was going to do play-by-play. And I remember the very first period, my very first call, I'm calling the play, and my very first goal call, he steals it. I'm calling the play, puck to the corner, back out to the blue line, in front of the net. And all of a sudden he yells, he scores! I'm like, what do I do now? Yeah, exactly.
Drilled him.
First ever stolen.
How am I? Yeah, we could sit and tell all those stories. We'll have to talk. Well, we can talk golf here in this segment. We've got time. But I'll say this, the dream, the nightmare that I had forever was going into an arena and being in the broadcast booth that you couldn't see the ice. And I'm running around trying to find an arena person or somebody with a home team going, I can't see the ice. How am I supposed to call this game? I can't see the, I had that dream many, many times. But if anybody knows where I am at this point in my life, I've been calling games since 1988. I just don't want to do it anymore. That's all. How many times can you find a different way to say he dumps the puck in? Or she. Done. On the poll question, who will win the Masters, a PGA player or a LIV player? What are they? I don't have it up on Twitter, Clark. What are they saying on YouTube? Who's winning? Okay, 72% PGA. 72% PGA. Thank you, Allie. Allie in Texas says, story time with Rod and Darren is the best. My God, we got 1 million, don't we? For those that say 72% going to vote for PGA, I feel like they're cheering for the PGA to do it. They don't want a LIV player. which is another argument that I just don't have time for. I kind of want a live player to win just to see what would happen. What did Nelson say earlier? He's like, people like to watch a dumpster fire. I feel like a live player won the Masters. That would be it. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't think John Rahm was a live player a year ago, but then in the last year, he became a live player when he won. Brooks Koepka, when he won the major, not the Masters, but a major, he was already a live player. I'm looking at the live players, and I pulled up, who's kind of hot. And, it's not, I don't really look at the live, results, but you look at the last event they had, Sergio Garcia made a playoff. He was minus 11. Bryson DeChambeau was among the leaders. John Rahm. These guys, Patrick Reed, they're all playing pretty well. Who's not playing well? Brooks Koepka's not playing well. I think he was +8 in their last event that they had. Phil Mickelson's not playing well. So there's some guys who are playing well that'll be in the conversation. When Brooks Koepka tees it up, he's always got a chance. So a little bit of Dustin Johnson's another guy, middle of the pack in the last live event, but another guy who has that pedigree. They can be there come Sunday, but it'll be tough. It'll be interesting. The course apparently is playing really fast, so the scores, I don't expect them to be really high. Or not low scores, I mean. It'll be fun.
Nice analysis, bro. I'll probably be watching, but I got a busy weekend coming up too. And thank you, by the way, to Dave Weegar. He is written in from Hamilton, Ontario, on the Sober Carpenter text line, 902-518-3033. He's very clearly watching on Game Plus television, and he says, "Hi, Rod, long-time viewer, first-time texter, Dave from the Hammer." Thank you, Dave, for answering the bell. Now, are you related to Mackenzie Weegar? I'm not sure where Mackenzie's from, but I know he's Canadian, and I'm pretty sure he's from Ontario. So, Dave, thank you. I do really love when the audience texts in with their comments and questions, because it's like going into doing a sports banquet. I'd rather take questions from the crowd so you know you're knocking them out of the park. I did a banquet in Weyburn with Dwayne Ward and Corey Sheets, and I want to say Curtis Joseph. Would they have had those three on the bill? I just know Dwayne Ward was there, and he came in and kind of delivered a 40-minute keynote that just completely missed the mark. We want to see those stories. We want to hear Robbie's stories. Oh, I'm here. Sorry. You know what I mean? So he should have taken, he should have taken questions from the crowd, Dwayne Ward, that night, and for whatever reason he didn't. So, Dave, please let me know if you, well, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that CFL interview with Tyson Philpott. Darren, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for coming back on. We did the golf thing and told some stories, too. It's a win. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You bet. Take care.
Overtime's next, everybody. For some, their favorite part of the show. We'll be back after this brief pause on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour.
You're as cold as ice.
May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with special guest, Headpins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
The race for the Cantera Seat Cup continues on Flow Hockey TV. SJHL playoffs are on.
60 minutes and who wants it more?
Follow the race for the Cantera Seeds Cup on Flow Hockey TV. The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Here we go, back at it for Overtime, a proud presentation of Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where skill and fun collide. An amusement park for hockey players. I went down there and spent the whole day. You might too. Check them out at 28th Street Northeast. Hey, Randy and Michelle. If you go down there, tell them we sent you, the RP show. Dave Weegar in Hamilton, Ontario, when I asked new viewers to write it, or he's a longtime viewer, first-time texter. He writes in, and I asked him if he's related to Mackenzie Weegar of the Calgary Flames. He says, thanks for the shout-out, Rod. Not related to Mackenzie, as far as I know. See, here's the thing. We reel you in. We reel you in. And then you're hooked. What did we used to say? We're the black tar heroin of sports talk. Just give you a little sample like that, and now you're hooked. But I think we're far safer. We're far safer for you than any of that. It's the interactive portion that's very addictive of this show. And there is nothing else on television in Canada during the day like this. America's full of them. That's why we do what we do differently than what they do in the States, okay? That's our little secret. It's working. Regarding that poll question, who will win the Masters, a PGA player or a live golf player? 72%, Clark was saying on YouTube, voting for PGA player. Ron in Calgary writes in and he says, a live player will win, just to add to the gong show. Oh, the world would come down, wouldn't it, if a live player won the Masters? Bye-bye, Allie. Thanks for your support all day long. Randy from Winnipeg. Scotty Scheffler wins the Masters. PGA. We'll see. He is the odds-on favorite, right? He's the betting favorite. The sports update. Arkansas has hired John Calipari as men's basketball coach a day after the Hall of Fame coach stepped down from the Kentucky program he led to the 2012 NCAA championship. The 65-year-old Calipari signed a 5-year deal with a base annual salary of $7 million through 2029 and had a $1 million bonus to go. Oh, You're big college basketball fans, right? That's what everybody said. Don't gaslight me. College basketball is not huge in Canada. Don't tell me something that I know is not right. Or were you all following that John Calipari resigned in Kentucky yesterday? This one's a little more mainstream. The women's NCAA championship game drew a bigger television audience than the men's title game for the first time ever, with an average of 18.9 million viewers watching undefeated South Carolina beat Iowa and superstar Caitlin Clark. The Sunday afternoon game on ABC and ESPN outdrew Monday night's men's final between UConn and Purdue by 4 million people. The women's final was the second most watched non-Olympic women's sporting event on U.S. television ever, trailing only the 2015 Women's World Cup final between the United States and Japan. And if you really care, and sometimes I kind of wonder how many of you do, why is that? Is that because you really love women's basketball more than men's? Or is it because it's the thing to do and the TV network convinced you that it's the thing to do? Or is it because of the marketing hype? And we've been hearing about Caitlin Clark all year. And for some, they're her whole career. And we couldn't name any of the UConn players. Why is it? Why is this? Fascinating. Sports update for Landmark Cinemas. Wednesdays are made for movie twosomes. You don't have to be Jack and Rose, Han and Chewie, Mark and Mrs. Smith, or even Miss Peggy and Kermit to get 2 admissions, 2 medium fountain drinks, a large popcorn, and your choice of candy for one great low price. But what you do need is a date, somebody to go with you, because this deal is worth sharing. Landmark Cinemas movie twosome every Wednesday. Go tonight. Check your favorite Landmark Cinemas for showtimes. And also brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. Well, this was a whole lot of fun. Thank you to Tim Peel and Tyson Philpott. Great job by our entire team bringing it to you. We'll do it all again tomorrow, noon Eastern, here on Game Plus and Key Radio. Thanks, everybody.
Who has more fun than us?